Hello and welcome back to BB Kingle Halloween Origins. Now today we are talking about zombies. Pop culture portrays zombies as reawakened corpses. People that were once dead who have now risen from their eternity of slumber that are very flesh hungry. Some movies, comics or whatever portray them very slow and robotic, like they are still very much so dead. However, others have took it a step further and they are fast, agile, killing machines. To trace back the origins of zombies, we have to go all the way back to ancient Greece, and archaeologists found some graves that contained skeletons that were being pinned by heavy objects, either rocks or other kind of objects like this, but we don't know why. People started connecting some dots and they've said that back in the ancient Greek times, people believed that some humans who died would come back to life. So pinning them down with a heavy object would obviously stop them from breaking out of the coffin, digging back up to the surface and walking among us. However, in the 17th century in Haiti, people say that this is the origin of the zombies that we know today. However, ancient Greek did do that. People have it's just an assumption, we don't know for certain. However, Haiti in the 17th century has a bit more factual evidence suggesting that maybe this is where zombies stemmed from. In Haiti, West African slaves were brought in to work on the sugarcane plantation, and people say that zombies are based off the horrific plight of slavery. Also, voodoo might have to play a part in this. People say that voodoo is what started this. Some kind of remedies brought people back from the dead, which made them flesh hungry and so on. So I'm going to go into a bit about that now. Bokors are voodoo practitioners who have been believed to bring people back from the dead using herbs, certain spices and all that kind of stuff to make a zombie powder. Alongside the spices, herbs, sometimes bones and animal parts was a toxin, tetrodotoxin. Now this was found from pufferfish and other marine life, and people say that that played a huge part in the zombie powder when it brought people back to life. Due to the tetrodotoxin, depending on how much of the zombie powder people would have back in the day, depends on how they'd kind of turn out. So that is mainly due to the amount of tetrodotoxin that someone can withstand. A large amount would slip people into comas. So back in the day when they didn't fully understand what a coma was, they'd usually be pronounced dead. So these people would be buried, and then once they kind of come out of the coma, if they would, or sometimes they wouldn't, then they'd obviously be reborn. As people say, zombies are reawakened, but they actually haven't been, they've just woke up from their coma. So that's how people called it the zombie powder, because they didn't quite understand. Also, a sublethal dose, a tiny amount, could sometimes affect people's speech, respiratory and ability to walk. And there are also more characteristics of a zombie. So you've got one where they wake up from being pronounced dead, and another where it affects them walking. They could be slower, and also their breathing is more raspy and they were struggling, and they had mind confusion as well, so they didn't know exactly what they were doing. So these are some huge characteristics of what a zombie is portrayed as today. But I mean, surely there's no documented recordings of anyone ever being pronounced dead to come back as a zombie. Oh, but there has. In 1997, an article came out saying that there's 3 recorded accounts of this happening in history, 2 of which were in Haiti, which I'm going to say now. So the first one was a Haiti man was pronounced dead and buried. However, he was shortly after dug up and put to work on a sugarcane plantation. 18 years later, he was walking the streets of Haiti and he found his sister. He approached her and claimed to be his sister, and doctors tested, and it turns out he was that woman's sister. That started in 1962, where the man went to the hospital for respiratory issues, slipped into a coma and was pronounced dead. So this is very similar to what the zombie powder is kind of said to do. However, it didn't mention anywhere of him taking any zombie powder, so that's just me putting them together. However, that's what happened there, and then 18 years later he came out and found his sister. Same again with the other one. A Haiti woman was buried, which actually she was just in a coma, and she reappeared 3 years later. Obviously 3 years is a very long time, but she didn't change much over that amount of time, so she was easily recognised. So to kind of go over everything and to conclude, there's no such thing as a zombie, sadly. As I was looking into it, yes, there's kind of a few folklores kicking about saying that they don't know whether people do come back from the dead, which is why in ancient Greece they put like stones and heavy items on, ensuring that they will not wake up and break free. However, the kind of zombie origin real life is slipped into people being pronounced dead who actually aren't, and therefore coming back to life due to them not being dead. So that's the kind of zombie meaning. However, I wanted to see some flesh-eating monsters, which sadly do not exist. But I'm going to say there's a bit of truth to it, because ancient Greece were taking the extra steps. They knew what they were doing. They were putting stones on them so they didn't wake up and come and get them in the night. So I'm saying there's a bit of truth behind there somewhere. There is zombies kicking about. I want to say that just to make me feel better. If you did enjoy this video, please check this one out here and join me on my search for the origins of the most well-known Halloween monsters.